changing lives.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Real Talk here at the studios of Hope TV Ghana. We have another story on our table. Before we go into all that and bring you the juiciness of the story, I'd like to remind you that we are live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. So you can join the conversation by streaming live with us. And like I always say, we encourage you to always tune in and leave your comments under the comment section because Real Talk is a very interactive show. My name is Evie, as usual, the host for the show, and I am not going to do this by myself. I have amazing panelists joining me in person in the studio and virtually as well. I will introduce them to you shortly. You know, someone would say the era of parents introducing prospective wives or husbands to their wards is a thing of the past. You'll be surprised that this is still happening. We have parents that are threatening their children to marry a person of their choice, or they will not give their blessings to whoever they decide to go forward with. And sometimes the choice of your parents would not necessarily be a good choice. Other times too, you may find a good wife in who your mother or father suggests, or a good husband. And some say that, oh, what an adult sees sitting, a child can never see standing or climbing a tree. We hear all these things. But when is too much, too much? When should parents respect boundaries and then decide to leave the choice of a wife or a husband to their wards? When do you have faith in the training you've given to your children and have hope that they will make the right decision? I mean, some people will say, even the ones that we love, that we choose ourselves, sometimes we can't manage. How much more someone that someone has chosen for you, you know? And today's story, rather unfortunately, the parents of the man wants their son to marry a specific girl. And we've titled the story, My Parents Want Me to Marry a Rude Lady. It's very interesting, and I'm going to read the story to us. But let me go ahead and introduce my panelists to you. I have in the studio Dr. Josiah, and you know Doctor, if he's not on Real Talk, he's probably on Family Live or something like that. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
How has your week been?
The week so far so good.
So far so good.
Yeah.
We are in the middle trying to end it on a good note.
We will end it well.
Amen, amen, amen. But I'm sure it's been stressful managing here and there.
Yeah, the semester has just started, and so we are trying to make sure we are okay with the timetable and introducing students to the class and all that.
I can't imagine. You're doing a great job.
All right, we are trying.
Joining me virtually, I have Benjamin Ejay Dako. Benjamin Nana Ejay Dako. Benjamin, good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, good evening.
Yes. How are you doing, Benjamin?
I'm doing very fine by God's grace.
Yeah, it's good good to have you. I heard you are not feeling well. Are you much better this evening?
Yes, I wasn't too well, but I'm a little better this evening.
We thank God. I hope you are ready for the conversation.
Yes, sure.
Okay, it's good to have you. I have another guest joining me virtually as well, Seth Odami Mensah, but he hasn't joined in yet. When immediately he comes in, I'll make sure that we say hi to him and get the conversation rolling. So let me go straight ahead and read our story to you, titled, My Parents Want Me to Marry a Rude Lady. It says, Dear Real Talk, I have a dilemma. Coming from an affluent background, my parents often arrange marriages for us. They did this for my 4 older siblings, and now it looks like they want to do same for me. Well, I was at home when my parents approached me about their friend's daughter. They suggested we should become better acquainted and consider getting married next year. This wasn't something I want because I would want to find my own wife. Anyway, the lady in question has been praised by her father, my dad's friend, to be a good, intelligent woman of good character. Since I wasn't dating anyone at the time, I decided to listen and give it a chance. We agreed on a date, location, and time. On the proposed date, I encountered heavy traffic. I anticipated I would be late, so I sent her a text explaining the situation and letting her know I would be 15 minutes late. I got no reply. I arrived at the venue and saw her already there. I said hello and apologized for my lateness, but she gave me a cursory glance and muttered whatever. I was taken aback but sat down and started engaging her in a conversation. She cut me off and said my simple hello as a greeting was not good enough. Instead, a good evening would have been better. I apologized again, said good evening, and smiled. She didn't respond. She was looking through the menu and I saw she couldn't decide on something yet. So I suggested a meal I had tried before to her. She glared at me and told me she can order her own food and she didn't need a man to tell her what to eat. Surprised, I sat back and watched her spend almost 15 minutes on the menu only to select the exact order I suggested. I quickly chose something random on the menu since she had taken a long time with it. I went ahead to ask her about herself and what she does. She said she's a lawyer, and I was pleasantly surprised because I am a lawyer as well. I told her this and she blatantly told me she doubts we are on the same level because my tardiness was evidence of that. According to her, a good lawyer is never late. I was already put off by her attitude. I couldn't wait to leave there, but she did one more thing that shocked me. She yelled at the waiter because her food was not hot enough. And when the waiter suggested a reheat, she got upset and asked why they didn't get it right the first time. She did all this loudly, which drew some attention to our table. I was so embarrassed. She refused to eat the food and pushed it away from her. The food would have poured if the waiter didn't grab it quickly. I quickly asked for the bill, including her on eating food, so I could just disappear from there. But she threw some cash on the table and told me she can pay for her own food while storming out of the restaurant. Returning home, I informed my parents about her behavior and told them never will I date this woman, not to talk of marriage. Evie, can you imagine the only thing my mother could say was that she might have been testing me? I am struggling to understand how rudeness and bossy behavior constitutes a test. My father is insisting I marry her because of his friendship with her father, or he won't give his blessings to anyone else I bring home. What do I do? Can I disobey my parents in this case? This is a lot of reading, and it's a lot of story going on, and so many dynamics. Dynamics with regards to parents-children relationship, parents choosing spouses for their children, women and how sometimes they put themselves out there. Is this all in the name of independence, women, feminists? Is that the issue we are having here? Is it in the name of she thinks she's better than someone? I can't wrap my head around it. Doctor, you'd have to help us solve this problem because I've been looking at it and I'm just wondering, and the mother even saying it's a test. What sort of test? Which examination is this?
Well,
you were a lecturer as well, so I'm sure you'll help us figure that out. But really, what is going through your mind after listening to this story? What is going through your mind?
Well, the moment I hear a story like this, the first element is parental interference. 2023, should a parent interfere in the decisions of a child, of a son or a daughter regarding whom to marry?
Right.
The answer is yes. There should be some level of parental influence.
Okay.
But to what extent? I mean, when it comes to choices of a partner, we have significant others who are important, parents.
Right.
But to what extent should the parent, interfere? Suggesting that you marry this person and insisting that you must do it is a bit too much. Anyway, I'm sure we'll go into that.
Yeah.
So the first element of it is parental interference. Then this issue of a rude behavior. I mean, she's being rude. If his story is true, then she's being really rude. And I'm like, okay, fine. Somebody may be able to take this, but this guy says, no, I can't take it. And then there is this element of the mother thinking that it is a test. People do that a lot, trying to, test a partner to see if we are suitable, if we can work out. I don't think exhibiting a bad character is a good enough way to test somebody. Because if it is within my principles that I do not want a rude person, that I will fail the test.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be. If I mean, naturally you are not like that, and then you say you are testing me with that, I will fail it because I will get angry.
Yeah.
I would back off, and then that means I have failed the test. And so these are the issues running through my mind.
Right.
I believe we'll go
absolutely. And it's a good point you mentioned that if naturally you're not like that, why would you use something so opposite of you as a test?
Exactly.
I mean, if I'm not really going to encounter that with you, why are we using it as a yardstick?
But if you will encounter that with, if it is something that, I mean, if I would test you, perhaps I would probably, maybe there are some things that I like to do.
Right.
I will do them.
Exactly.
And see how you will react.
Exactly.
And then I will know that, oh, this person can actually contain me. But if you are doing something that you are not...
It makes no sense. I'm sure the mother was trying to make excuses for you. But Benjamin, let me come to you. What is your take on this story? What's your general thoughts on the story?
All right. I think that this story is bringing to bear what we young men of today in the era of feminism are facing in our day-to-day lives. In an era where women think that their rights should be fought for, but in fighting for their rights, they go overboard. They go over the rights that they are fighting for. This is what we are facing. I think the story is interesting, and as a Christian community, it's very important that we consider it. I'm sure our parents are watching, our young ladies are watching, and then our young men too are watching, and then we should definitely take some gems from here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am told Seth Odame Mensah has finally joined us. Seth, if you can hear me, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to join, the panelists for this discussion.
We are happy to have you, Seth.
Yeah, first of all, I think that taking a critical look of the scenario we are about to discuss with your audience, first of all, I want to make this general statement that there was a lot of, for me, I think there was a lot of communication breakdown. There were a lot of misunderstanding, and I also feel that there are a lot of differing expectations that led to this uncomfortable and unpleasant experience. And I say this because when you look at the trajectory of the guy's parents, for them, I think that because they have already done this arranged marriage for his elder siblings, in their head, they feel like, okay, I mean, we gave birth to all of you, so your personality traits are the same. We know who you are, we know whom you bring home and what you do at what point. So as parents, not only lording over you, but again, we feel like because it has worked for your elder siblings, we can also do same for you. So in the head of the parents, what they were thinking was different from what their son was also thinking. Because his experiences at the time, based on what you sent to us for us to go through, the guy was not dating at the time. So his experiences, probably if he had dated before, might be different from what his parents were, expecting. And again, on the side of the lady, I feel like this generation, we try to intertwine independence. Let's say I'm independent, I have my career. We try to intertwine independence with other behavioral tendencies. And our career always leads us away. It could be men, it could be women. But in this case, I felt like the lady was carried away so much by her career more than the situation she finds herself.
Right.
So that would be my open submission for this discussion tonight.
Thank you so much for that, Seth. Doctor, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
I know you've said in passing what you think parents do with regards to arranging marriages for children, but I don't know if you have more to add to that, if you have more on your opinion as to what parents arranging marriages for children is. But my main question would be, is it wrong, or this trend of I'm independent, I'm a feminist, I don't need a man, I mean I can do it by myself, you only come to almost like an addition or like a surplus, and I mean at the end of the day I am who I am. This trend that is going on, is it failing women? Do you think that we are taking it too far, or you think with regards to this girl she's just plain rude?
Okay. I will add something on
Yeah.
the issue of parental influence. I earlier said parents are part of significant others.
Right.
Your decision on whom to marry and how to go about your marriage is solely yours. And you can decide to do it all alone.
Right.
However, there are significant others. Your family, your friends, counselors. These people help to shape your decision. So there may be times that you have to decide on somebody, but you may need the opinion of a parent,
Right.
of a sibling, of a friend, of a counselor. And that's why I said there is influence. In terms of arranging, I think that it is something that we have gone past.
Okay.
When people were arranging marriages for their children, it was in small communities when these parents observed these children from afar. And they knew that my son relates well with this lady.
Right.
They knew each other. They went to fetch water from the stream together. They played under the moonlight together. And
Yeah.
so the parent can say, oh no, boy, you can marry this girl. And it worked for them. Today, this girl has left her village, has come to Accra. I have also left my village and have come to Accra. The two of us do not know each other. We haven't, and so if you say that because you are the lady is my friend's daughter, and I think my friend has trained his daughter well, therefore my son, whom I have also trained well, can be with the person. No, I think it is a no-no for our parents to do.
Right.
For me, the best they can do would be to counsel and arrange that you meet and talk. The decision should be the one who is going to get married. Because eventually, the parent is not going to stay in the marriage with you. You are the one going to either enjoy or suffer the person's character. And so the decision is yours. Those
Absolutely.
are my thoughts on it. And I needed to say this.
Right.
All right. Now let me talk about the issue of independent women. There is no human being who is independent. God declared it. Genesis 2:18. It is not good for the man. The word there is Adam. Human being. It's not good for the human being to be alone. God knew from the start that humans ought not to be alone. No one is an island. We all need each other. However, this element of women empowerment, what is being said is that you need a kind of self-worth. You need to respect yourself. You need to value yourself. You don't have to be extremely dependent on somebody in order to live your life.
Right.
Like you don't have to be a lady whose bills are being paid by somebody all the time, who when you go on a date, your TNT and everything will have to be paid. And that is not what you should be doing. That's what we are talking about, empowering women and men as well. But that should not lead to rudeness, because rudeness for me is something that shows that you do not even respect yourself. And in most instances, rudeness is actually a product of a lack of self-worth. You really do not value yourself well enough, so you need to do something in order to feel that element of importance. So it is actually the opposite of the empowerment we are talking about.
Absolutely.
And so in the story, if I said it earlier, if what the guy is saying is true, because we can't hear the lady's side of the story.
Unfortunately.
If what he is saying is true, the only thing that she has the right to be upset about is the fact that he came 15 minutes later. Well, he didn't tell us if it was actually 15 minutes. So he came later than the time arranged. I will be upset that I arranged this time with you and you are late. But he says he sent a text.
Yes.
Did she receive the text?
We
do not know.
Because she didn't respond.
Because she didn't respond. Chances are that is, I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate.
Right.
Chances are that she didn't receive the text. If she didn't, then she will say, how can you be late for a date? Maybe for an hour. He said 15 minutes, but maybe for an hour. You know, whatever it is. You have the right to express your dissatisfaction. It is fine. But that should not lead to being rude toward him, to the extent of extending it to the waiter.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you can have a bad day, but when you are in public, you should respect yourself to the extent of ensuring that your bad day, whichever bad day you might have had, because you might have had a bad day.
True.
So it can be something that happened only on that day. But the details seem to tell me, and if I were the one on a date with this kind of person, I would say this person is really rude.
That's true, that's true. And it's interesting you should say that being rude is actually an attribute of low self-worth. Because I'm reading this book right now, Psychology, Psychology Wealth, or the Psychology of Wealth by Charles Richards. And he mentioned that being rude and obnoxious and is a sign of low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem.
And you would think that somebody who is, you think is the opposite.
Most of the time, it is an expression. You know, you want to do something in order to feel important.
Right.
But that is way the opposite.
That makes a lot of sense. Benjamin, I'm going to come to you. You know, we've spoken about feminists or feminism and being independent. But then I would have to go ahead and say that Chimamanda, the woman that has been tagged with bringing out feminism, has said that being a feminist doesn't mean you hate men. You're not man-hating. And I think a lot of people pick one aspect of a theory or a trend and then they just become extreme with it. And so I'm going to ask you that this trend of, oh, I'm independent, I don't need a man, because from the story, she made a comment. She said when he suggested the order of food, she said, I don't need a man to
I know
order.
how to choose my food.
Yes, I don't need a man to do that for me. So you can see that she's already in a certain mind frame. And so I'm going to ask, are we taking this thing too far? Or you think this girl has nothing to do with being independent? It has nothing to do with being a feminist. She is just a plain rude girl who doesn't know how to act right.
Well, I personally think, like Doctor said, I agree with Doctor that there's no one who is actually independent, as the Bible has said. But even if you want to be independent in the sense of having your own money, choosing your own meal, and all of that, it doesn't mean you should be rude. So the lady is just rude. That is what I think. She's just rude. It has nothing to do with independence. But also, on the other side, I'm trying to look at the other side of the story. For all you know, this lady does not even want to meet this man. And because it's an arranged marriage, the parents are also forcing her to go and meet the man. And so coming from the house, being forced to meet the man, she's already angry. And then she comes and you are supposed to meet at 6 and you come at 6:15 or even 6:30. So she pours all that anger on the man. But generally, I think that if she's taking it from the side of independence, if you are independent, then you shouldn't even agree to come and meet a man in the first place, a man that is not a man of your choice, because you are independent. You should choose who you would want to even go out on a date with. So I think this woman is just being rude, being rude. It has nothing at all to do with independence. And I would want to chip in a little on arranging marriages for children. You know, even in our setting these days, some parents do it, but some of them have a very nice way of doing it. Like Doc was saying, they'll just tell you that, oh, I met this person. Can you go and give this thing to that person? You go, you meet, you talk, But forcefully asking your children to marry a particular person, I think it's quite archaic if it was being done in the past. Because today, a lot of things are happening at the blind side of parents. For all you know, you don't even know your child the way you think you do.
You do.
For all you know, your child is the problem and is going to cause the one that you are arranging the marriage with a lot of hell. So it is not really necessary in our setting to arrange marriages for children. You can set them up. You can send her to meet him, talk to him and all of that. If it clicks and they want to move on from there, fine. But insisting that this is who you are supposed to marry, I think it's out of the norm today. And it goes beyond that. I want to also chip in the concept. Some parents will not choose for you who you are supposed to marry, but they will confine you to a particular tribe or church and all of that. I dare mention church. So even in the house of God, even as Christians, we have parents telling their children that we are fancies, we don't want anything to do with guns. So you bring a gun lady home, no matter how good the person is. Because of that bias, they will not open their eyes to see the good in the person you brought home. So, you know, you bring them home, they tell you that we don't need this person in our house because this person is from this particular tribe. I think all of those things are archaic. And Paul uses the phrase that it should not even be mentioned in the house of God.
Absolutely, Benjamin. I think you make a great point when you say that for all we know, the girl in her quest not to marry this young man will just put herself in such a bad light that the man wouldn't want anything to do with her. For all you know, she's also not interested and her parents are forcing her. So she'll just act out in a way that the man will not marry her so that she has her time. And it's good that you mentioned other instances where parents have sort of an influence or are overbearing when they tell you the tribe to marry from, the sort of girl to marry with regards to, let's say, color, or where she works, or the kind of home she comes from, if they are rich or
the ones going to stay with the person.
I know. It's very, very, I mean, it's one of those things that, it's quite dicey because you love your parents, you want to respect them, and on this hand, they are, in your mind, they are being unreasonable and you want to go ahead and make a choice. But Seth, I'm going to come to you. I don't know, you can chip in any points that you have. You can add it to your opinion on parents arranging marriage or this trend of independent women, and if you're taking it too far. But my personal question to you would be, is the guy wrong for refusing to marry this girl? You know, does he need to give her another chance? Like doctor said, maybe she was having a bad day. Maybe this is not her generally. So maybe another chance for him to see exactly who she is. Or you think that she's shown her true colors, so it's enough. He can decide not to marry her.
Right. Thank you very much. I think that Dr. Josiah and Benjamin has elaborated much on these issues. From a point of view, I would say that, first of all, the gentleman in question respected his parents.
Right.
Because in his head, he didn't want, from the onset, he didn't want the idea of arranged marriage. But for him to listen to his parents and go and have like a conversation or a date with a woman, I think that not that he was so much interested, but he felt like, okay, let me give it a try. Let me just listen to my parents and go and have this meeting. Now, what he was expecting, because he didn't believe in arranged marriage. So I'm sure what he was expecting was, okay, if I have to make a choice, what am I looking at from the woman I want to, stay with, if I have the choice to make, not my parents, which is obviously the case, based on what all of us are discussing this evening. So I think that for the guy to say that, okay, I'm going to give him a second chance or not, depends on a lot of factors.
Right.
One, now the lady, though we might not know what he was thinking, because women, we all know, may have their own checklist. I need a guy who is that, who is this, who is that, who is that, maybe 6 feet tall, body built, this and that, So right from the word go, if those checklists has not been met by the lady, and the guy even continues to approach her or give her a second or a third chance, and those checklists have not been marked, at the end of the day, I feel like it will be a waste of time for both of them.
Right.
So I think that for him to give him a second chance, yes, he can certainly give him a second chance if and only if that some of the traits he wants to see in a wife he is going to live with has in the lady. If not, I side with Dr. Josiah, because at the end of the day, as a man who is going to be a head of a family, either he is religious or not, for me, he feels like I need a woman who has very good manners, who can, take care of our home. When my friends even come to our home, she wouldn't be so bossy, or she wouldn't give certain statements or pass certain comments that would be so demeaning or disrespectful to my friends, because he's also a lawyer. So he would also want a lady who is courteous. So in as much as the lady was rude, I think that for him to give him a second chance, that particular trait the guy might be looking for is not in the lady. So I think that it will boil down on what the guy is actually looking for in the lady. And again, what the lady, if the lady could also, if she's listening or wherever she is, she would also be able to adapt and know that, hey, there is a difference between independence and manners. I might not like somebody, but it is nice to be nice. I might not like what he brings to the table, but it is nice to be nice. Because at the end of the day, you having a career doesn't mean you are independent. I don't know why we, through empowerment, most of our women and even men, we feel like, okay, if I have this profession, I'm independent. You are not. You just pick the career and you are making money out of it. That doesn't make you independent. We have lost that thing, and it has transcended to, the younger generation. And I feel it is hard time we isolate this and discuss career and independence on its own for people to know that I can even pick 3 or 4 professions and make more money. It doesn't mean I'm not independent. So to end or to bring my submission to an end on this, I feel like, yes, as a man, he might have some egoistic tendencies. So it will be very difficult to say I want to approach her again. But then, if she still feels that beyond, the poor manners, there were some traits he saw that he feel like he could build on, and let the lady know that, hey, on our first date, you said A, B, C, D, and E, but those things you said, I feel like this is how the approach should have been. I was late. I accepted, I apologized. You didn't like the food. Yes, you might even have a bad day, but I think that this and this and this is how you have to approach the issues. It makes people feel comfortable around you. So I think that this will be my submission to the gentleman and all our audience who find themselves in such situations.
Thank you so much, Seth. And I agree with you that there's a difference between, being independent and being mannerless. Because what has your independence got to do with shouting and yelling at a restaurant? That doesn't even show that. She claims she's a lawyer. It's a disgrace to her profession. That's so terrible. We have to go for a quick break. When we come back, we will look at other aspects of the story. If he can disobey his parents, and if he can, how can he make them understand that this is not the woman for him? And then finally, what he should do. We'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. This is Real Talk.
It's back again. Mission 2023 is back again. United Service to Africa, in partnership with Anikant Community Center and Ghana Adventist Health Service, is back with its 4th medical and evangelistic mission trip to Ghana from the 1st to 15th October 2023. The mission includes surgeries for conditions like hernia, hemorrhoid, and cataract, plastic surgery, medical, dental, eye care. Are you an anesthesiologist, general surgeon, internist, family medicine physician, dentist, ophthalmologist, optometrics, nurse, and pharmacist? You can also be part of our prestigious volunteers. You can also send your donations to our Zelle account, www.unsta.org. Mobile, +195 184 09517 or +233 244 464692 or through our website unitedservice2africa.org. Registration is ongoing at these locations: Valley View University Adventist Hospital, Techiman; Asaman SDA Hospital, Asaman; Namong SDA Hospital, Namong; Wadbok Eye Services, Kaswa Central Region; Kwadaso SDA Hospital, Kumasi; Sunyani SDA Hospital, Bono Region; and Shopo Dental Unit, Odium, Kumasi. Sponsors: United Service to Africa, Anikant Community Center, Ghana Adventist Health Service, Riverside Ghanaian SDA Church, Loma Linda University Health, Savamanga Family Trust, Tasadia Foundation, Charity Vision, All Network Adventist Healthcare Professionals, Diwali Band Trust, Kittering Health, Project Ghana, North Studios Ghana, and our Perigraph Foundation. Media partners: Nob TV Ghana, Hope TV Ghana, and Focal TV. Remember, it's 1st to 15th October 2023. Go and register now so you won't be left out. It's USTA Medical Mission 2023, the new level.
Hello and welcome to Hope Channel, and of course to your favorite program, Watch These Signs.
As long as you are not in that boundary, he will do all kinds of things to protect you so that you continue to move. There are times some things should have happened which should have crushed you to death, but because of the power of God, to give you extra more time so that you can consider the issues of eternity. From plug things
On the farm.
verse 23.
Yes, and that was when the Pharisees came, then he made this statement. And that is the same response people give today. That the Sabbath law says, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do this, don't touch this, don't go to market, don't. And so people use this text to tell you that even Jesus,
Welcome from that quick break. We are still in the studios of Hope TV Ghana, coming your way with Real Talk. My name is Evie, and I have been having this very interesting conversation we have titled, My Parents Want Me to Marry a Rude Lady. I've been doing this with Dr. Josiah. Joining me virtually, we have Benjamin and Seth. And so far, we've been having a very interesting conversation. If you just joined, you've missed a few bits of some tips and some very interesting discussions here and there. But we have some few minutes to go, and I'm sure you can get some information and some advice before we go off. I'd like to read some of our comments before we go back into the conversation. I see a lot of comments on our social media handles. I see you guys are going in on the story. I'd like to read a few so that we can go back in. This one is from Hagar Ajiman, who says, the nice thing about poor parents is that they don't impose their choices on their children. And I'll take the fact that they have no inheritance with which to blackmail or threaten me over this predicament any day. Please, when all is said and done, ensure that you marry someone who is good for you first. It's your most consequential decision as an adult. Yeah, you haven't seen some poor parents forcing their opinions on their children, eh? Now Mele Sampa says, you are marrying for yourself, not your parents. You'll be staying with your better half, not parents' better choice forever. My brother, take bold decisions and your parents will have no option than to stand by you. I am sure you can stand up for yourself, because at the end of the day, everything is about you and you only, not your parents, Mr. Lawyer. Lona Umaru says, you need to take your time to pray unless you would be influenced by your parents. However, if she is the right person, time will tell. Please don't rush to jump into the relationship now. I am praying for you. Stephen Bona says, these are some of the red flags we often ignore and pay for the consequences later. Run for your life. Ofaria J says, don't just walk away, run. Christabel Asante says, open your eyes well, observe and pray more, but you can give a second chance and see how things go. Good luck. Stella says, the next time you intend going on a date with her, you just video her secretly. Also, record her when talking to her on the phone. You don't argue with your parents. Relax. You pretend all is well and gather more evidence and then show it to your parents, because she will never give you peace, please. Debbie says, maybe she's not interested in the matchmaking of your parents and just wants to irritate you. Okay, let me pick one last one. This one is from Princess Mavis, who says, interesting. I feel your frustrations, bro. Please kindly pray over this issue before you put your hands into it. Okay, so going back quickly into the discussion, we have looked at parents' interference in marriages. We've looked at the trend of being independent or a feminist, and whether we are taking it too far as women, or this lady in question is just a plain, rude, mannerless woman. And before we went on the break, I was asking, is the guy wrong for refusing to marry her? Does he need to give her another chance? Mother is saying it's a test. Oh, and on this person who say, if you are like that, she's testing you. Father is saying, oh, she has good character. I'm friends with her father. She's a good woman. So you never know, maybe, you know. So is this grounds for the guy to give her another chance? Or you think he has seen it all?
And our viewers are also saying,
yeah,
she may not also be interested, and that she is exhibiting this
so the guy,
just to put him away.
Absolutely.
So there can be a lot of maybe this, maybe that, maybe. But for me, no matter what reasons she has to be rude, it is never okay to be rude. You know, you see, we are humans and we need to respect each other.
Right.
We need to also understand that another person may offend you, but that is not a good reason to be rude toward the other person.
Absolutely.
So that if for some reason she's not interested, she is a lawyer. Somebody that nobody can choose a meal for you, nobody should pay for you. You should be able to speak and say that I'm not interested in this.
Right.
Rather than showing an attitude in order to push him off. You know. But for me, I mean, the reason I'm saying this is, it is not just, you ask if it is wrong for the guy to refuse to.
Yeah,
I mean,
or you should give her another chance.
Anybody can decide to choose whom he or she wants to marry. Once you are 18 and above.
Yeah.
You know, it is only when you are 16 or 17 that you need parents.
Yes.
Once you are 18 and above, you can make your decision. Therefore, he has the right to decide to marry her or not to marry her. But in this case, it was just the first date.
Okay.
This is the first time they are meeting. The first date is not enough to make a decision on whether to marry somebody or not. The first date is just a first date. And there could be a number of reasons Therefore, let's give the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
That maybe it is this reason or that reason or that reason. So let me get to know her better. Let's connect more so that we see what will eventually or what can eventually happen. Now, the possible from where I sit, I can see that these two cannot get married. Okay. However, that doesn't mean that they cannot connect, because marriage is not the only. It's not the automatic result of going on a date. These two are in the same profession.
Right.
Connecting can help them. They can network. They can, transfer clients to each other and all that. So the point is, even if you do not want to marry somebody, it doesn't mean that you should become enemies after the first date. Let's connect and let's see whether we can at least be friends. Whether I can even go to the extent of getting to understand her background and, for that matter, being able to accept her character. Now, I say this because there is no perfect person.
Right.
So if you are going to choose somebody to marry, you should know that there will be a bad character you are going to marry.
True.
The only way you can live with that bad character is understanding why the person is like that and accepting to be with the person. So who knows? He may end up understanding that, well, she's like this for this reason and I can live with it. I accept it, I can live with it. And that will be okay. Even though from where I sit, I don't see it happening.
Right. I mean, you never know, I am sure when we interview couples, they'll share their first time and you will probably hear some very scary and really bad details of what went on, and now they're happily married. But like Doctor said, from where he is sitting, it doesn't look like it will work. But Benjamin, coming to you, do you think, the guy was asking, can I disobey my parents? Do you think someone will say, for this one alone, dear, you have every right to disobey your parents? Or you think that, parents like bringing out the scripture, obey your parents in the Lord. And then they will say, this is the one with whatever, you live long. Parents do that. They even say, honor and obey your parents. They don't say in the Lord, because they leave that one out, because sometimes their requests are not in the Lord. Yeah, but Benjamin, do you think that he can disobey his parents with regards to this specific issue? And also, how can he let his parents understand that this lady is just not the right partner for him? I mean, they've had success stories with his older siblings, but he's proven to be the stubborn one. Can he let them understand that, for me alone, please, the choice you've made, enkoyi?
All right. I want to begin from whether he should give a second chance or not. I have been agreeing with Doc on a lot of things this evening, but unfortunately, this is where I differ. Yeah, I believe in second chances, but this is not a situation where this one is going his way, that one is going her way, they bump into each other, and then she shows this attitude. This is a situation where there is a properly planned date. And in our generation, first dates are always important because first impression counts. And so we are coming to show you our best behavior, pretend to be what we are not even. So I can bet that is the best behavior. That is the best behavior that he showed the guy there. So if there is any form of second chance, it's going to be worse. And coming from the angle where the parents are communicating, so they went on the date, they came back, and he says he will not marry her. And so they are going to try to convince the lady, just like they are trying to convince the gentleman. And so, before you know, given a second chance, she's going to pretend to be what she is not. And then later in marriage, this gentleman is going to suffer. So I think that as for this situation, it is not disobeying parents, because the parents are not supposed to be in the place to choose a wife for the gentleman. So if he refuses to marry her, he is not really disobeying the parents. As for how he's supposed to go around letting them accept that he will not marry her, for that one, it is up to him. He's a lawyer, so he knows how to convince. If it doesn't go well, you go to appeal court, and then from there you go to Supreme Court.
That's true. That's true. And I completely agree with what you said, and I can see why you disagree with Doctor. I think Doctor is a very selfless person. He believes in second chances. He's a nice person. But this lawyer, I don't know if he has the sort of patience that he should run for his life. Seth, I'm going to come to you. Unfortunately, I would have to rush you a bit because our time is fast spent. But I'll ask you, how does he go about letting his parents understand that this is not the right woman for me? And also your final words.
All right. So for the want of time, I think that he should have an honest conversation with the parents. That would help him to articulate his feelings and his concerns regarding a potential marriage. And I also think that he should calmly and respectfully explain why he believes this woman is not the right partner for him. Citing examples of her behavior during the meeting. So I think when he does that, in as much as the father still insists, as a dad, I'm sure he would, reflect on a lot of things that happen. Again, I also think that, to conclude, I would also want to say that our brother or whoever is listening to us has to prioritize his happiness. Because for me, profession and marriage are two distinct features. We need to understand that from the word go, because a lot of people cloud themselves or shield themselves under their profession, and they feel like they can do everything with marriage. What you learned in school has no direct relationship on the journey you are taking as somebody who is going to marry and be in marriage for the rest of your life. So I think that he should prioritize his happiness and well-being in this situation. And again, in as much as he respects the opinion of his parents, he needs to also let his parents know that this is my thought, these are my feelings. And I think when he does that, that conversations probably may give him the chance to, make a decision on his own and bring him to the house for the parents' consent for him to marry him. That's my final words.
Thank you so much, Seth. Doctor, I'll come to you. What? Let's say he decides not to give a second chance, and he's so sure that this is not the right woman for him. How does he tell his parents? And then your final words to guide what he should do.
It's dialogue. And when we say dialogue, it means that you go to them knowing that they have a reason for what they are suggesting.
Right.
And so long as they are concerned, their reason is a good one.
Yeah.
So the parents are not doing this arbitrarily. They are not doing it out of the blue. They have a reason. Let's dialogue. Let's talk. I want to know what reasons you have for asking me to marry somebody I think is rude. And then I would also give you reasons why I think it will not be a good idea. Let's do that without anger, without emotions. Let's just be rational. Let's talk about it. Now, if dialogue fails, then I'll recommend a third party who the parents are likely to respect. And then, Ben said something about if appeal court fails, and all that. I think that is a process that can help. My final words, parents should stop forcing children, especially when it has to do with a decision that is for a lifetime. It's so important you don't make your choices for people who are going to live with something for the rest of their lives. Parents should stop that. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are testing a partner, you don't use a bad character to test. Somebody whose values go against those bad characters will fail. You will fail. If you lie to me, I will fail the test. I will get angry with you and leave you. So that is it. And finally, let me say, when there are issues, let's use dialogue.
Right. Absolutely, I agree. Let me read this comment from Mrs. Josephine Owusu-Eje, who says, Marriage is for only the man and the woman. If he doesn't feel very comfortable with the woman for only some minutes at the restaurant, how can he spend his whole life with her? Marriage is not to be done to please anybody, not even your parents. It's a personal decision. What happened at the restaurant is a clear sign and not a test. When he marries her, the marriage won't stand. She is rude, and marriage isn't built on rudeness, but rather on respect. Thank you so much for that comment. And I completely agree. To the woman, I don't know if you were having a bad day. I don't know if this is really your true character. I don't know what is going on with you, but rudeness is not an attractive trait at all. It's a very unattractive persona to have. I mean, you walk into a room and people will say, oh, that's the rude girl. That's the one that doesn't respect. Oh, that's the one that will be shouting right now. And with the profession you are in, your profession is really about respect. You people are the ones that do my lady, my lord, senior, humbly. You use all the words in the dictionary that speaks to respect and order and honor. And for you to behave like that in a restaurant, a public place, and now you know how we take pictures and videos of anything. Any commotion will video you. Your picture will be on social media. Your video will be on social media. Just embarrassing yourself and disgracing yourself to your parents. Let's just do right as people. Let's act right. Because it will be very sad and, I mean, embarrassing again to see a beautiful woman acting in that way. And the thing about independence, I absolutely like what Doctor said, that no man is an island. And clearly, this guy is in your profession. You don't know where you meet him. You don't know where you find him. You don't know the help you would need from him. You don't know how he can come through for you one way or the other. So showing this behavior and thinking you are better than him, calling him a lawyer that is not on your level, I feel like you're trying to just put yourself in a space to show that you are bigger and better only because you've probably felt intimidated when you saw him or when you heard he was a lawyer. And it's rather unfortunate that this is the outcome. And if it is because you don't want to marry him, that is fine. You can tell your parents that you don't want. Or you know what? You could even plan with a guy. He's not interested, you're not interested. You guys, let's not marry our parents. You know, you form a friendship. And at the end of the day, your parents will have to agree. Because hopefully, as the order of the world, if they go before you, if your parents die before you, you'll be stuck with someone you clearly do not love or care about. And that is not what marriage is about. That is not how marriage was supposed to be or was ordained by God to be. So please, parents, let's do better. Women, let's stop this independence feminist that you've taken to the extreme and behaving as if you don't have home training. Let's stop that. And for the men, equally, let's just be better human beings. And I think the man is a gentleman. I don't think we've given him enough credit. He's a gentleman for sitting through and even willing to pay for the food that she was throwing away. That was not eaten. Yes. And thank you for your kind nature. Your parents trained you well. We appreciate you. Thank you. And to my amazing panelists, Doctor, it's always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'm always glad when you accept to be on Real Talk. Right. We are very appreciative of your time and efforts. And Benjamin, even though you're not feeling well, you made it a point to be here this evening. Thank you so much. And Seth, all the way, not in Ghana, you've joined us. And we've all had a great conversation. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And to my amazing audience out there, thank you for always tuning in every Wednesday here at the studios of Hope TV Ghana to watch Real Talk. We'll be back same time next week with yet another interesting conversation. You can send your story to us through WhatsApp, email address, anything that you're going through, anything that you want us to talk about. And we will find you the right people to have the right conversation. Thank you, Satina Efwa Arthur. You're always available to help with your virtual producing of Real Talk. We are grateful. Thank you so much. We will be back same time next week. My name, as always, is Evie. Enjoy the rest of the content on Hope TV Ghana.